Hey everyone, at this point you should be well on your way to writing your trial essay. Before you get too far into writing your essay, I did want to go through an example essay that I wrote just to maybe help you understand how all of the requirements work together to create a complete essay. So again, I'm on my lesson plan. This example is listed under Tuesday the 7th. So I'm going to open up that document. After you watch this video, please take the time to actually read the essay because it can be helpful in understanding what you should do in your essay. So the first thing that I'm going to talk to you about is simply the format of this essay. So this essay follows MLA, and so I am going to point out that I'm using an MLA header, and so your header should look like this on your Google Doc. So first, you're going to list your name. Then you'll list the teacher's name, the class name. Please don't use Core 1 or Core 2. Instead, call it the class name, which is English 9. And then you're going to give me the due date of the paper, which is the 17th of April of this year. Also notice that this is in Times New Roman 12-point font, and it's been double-spaced. In the upper right-hand corner, you're also going to provide your last name with the page number. And then, because this is MLA, be sure to also include a title. Now, in looking at this document, you'll probably notice that I have it color-coded. I simply did this because I thought that it could help you understand how all of the requirements work together to give you a complete and effective essay. Please don't color-code your essay. That's not necessary. Another thing that I want to point out to you is in this essay, I am arguing why a character is not guilty of the deaths of Romeo and Juliet. Keep in mind that that is the exact opposite of what you should do in your essay. In your essay, you should be talking about who is guilty. The only reason why I spent my essay talking about someone who is not guilty is because I didn't want someone to copy my work. Then, because I wanted the color coding to mean something, I've also given you a key here. So if you're not really sure what each section of the paragraph is about, use this key to determine what it is. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is my introduction paragraph. In the introduction paragraph, you need to include these three things. You need to include an attention getter, background information that we need to know to understand what you're going to be talking about in your essay, and then you also need to include a thesis statement. If you were to take a look at the thesis statement resource that I attached to my lesson plan this week, you'll see that a thesis statement should include two parts. So a thesis statement is one sentence. I'm going to go down to my thesis sentence here. A thesis sentence is one sentence, again, that has two parts. In the first part, you're going to restate the prompt. So to show you part 1, I italicized that. And to restate the prompt, I'm going to list who is not guilty. Again, in your essay, you'll state who is. Then for part 2, I need to also list my 3 reasons why. One thing that I want to point out to you is that the order that you list your reasons why should be the same order that you talk about them in your paragraphs. So for instance, my first reason that I listed was that Benvolio was unaware of the predicament, and that's the first thing I talk about here. The second thing I listed was that he was dedicated to helping his friend, which is what I talk about in my second body paragraph. And then the third thing that I list in my thesis statement was that he was brave enough to stand for what was right, and that's what I talk about in my third body paragraph. So again, the order that you list your reasons in your thesis statement should be the exact order that you list them in your body paragraphs. Now, in taking a look at my body paragraph number 1, I can see, because of the color coding, that I've included all of the requirements. So if I go back up to my key, I can see that I need a transition, which is that word first. I also need to provide my reason why. So I do that in red here. Then I need to provide examples, reasons, or evidence. and I do so in green. And then I also need to include an explanation of my examples, reasons, and evidence. Now, the stuff that's in gray there is really important because I need to know why this stuff in green supports my reason in red. Another thing that you'll see happening here in this paragraph is the item in pink, which if we're looking back at the key, we'll see that that's my textual evidence citation. For this essay, you can follow your citations the way that I've done mine here. For my citation, I just provided the act that my evidence happens in, as well as the scene. So you can see that there. You can also list your evidence using parentheses. And so I decided to write my citation in the sentence here, but later I decide to use the parentheses method. We can see that listed in this paragraph here. So in green, I have my evidence, and then in pink, in parentheses, I have my citation. So you can do it one of two ways. If you want to include it in the sentence, your citation would look like this. Or if you want to use them in parentheses, your citation would look like this. So there are some options for you. And last thing that I want to show you is my conclusion paragraph. So again, if I were to look back at my key, I know that my conclusion should include three things. I need a concluding transition, I need to restate my thesis, and then I should provide my reader with some closing thoughts. Again, we see that here. I have my concluding transition, I've restated my thesis to summarize everything that I've just talked about, and then I want to leave my audience or my readers with a lasting impression, and so I've given them some closing thoughts to just think about and ponder as they finish reading my essay. So again, by the time you're done writing your essay should look like this without the color coding. If you have any questions about anything that I've talked to you about in this video, be sure to send me an email and then I'll try to answer those questions as soon as I can. Thanks everyone!